I'm Ken Zelin with McIntosh. Let's unbox, set up, and get this MT2 McIntosh turntable ready to play. We'll remove the first top pad, and inside are a pair of gloves. I'm going to put these on so I don't mark up the surface of the turntable. We have an overhang gauge, an owner's manual, all the accessories, and a felt mat. Lift off the next 2 layers of foam. And here's our platter dust shield. I'll set this aside for now. Another layer of foam packing. And one more layer here. Next, we'll lift the turntable out. The belt comes on the spindle. We'll remove it from the bag. Installing the belt is simple. Put it around the motor spindle and then around the inner platter. Give it a couple of turns to make sure it's riding smoothly and that there are no twists in the belt. The rubber band comes off and the stylus guard slips straight down and off the tone arm. A piece of tape is holding the tone arm into place. We're going to remove that. And we have one more rubber band to remove. So let's see what's in our accessory bag. You'll find a ground wire, Allen wrenches, a McIntosh bubble level, some screws in case you want to change the phono cartridge at a later date, tone arm counterweight, stylus force gauge, bottle of lubricating oil, and a screwdriver. To install the counterweight, we want to open up the oil, clip off the very top, which unseals it, and put just 1 drop at the end of a cotton swab and run that around the O-ring inside the counterweight. That's going to make this much easier to install. Then we put it on the back of the arm, twist it back and forth, and move it forward so it lines up with the etch mark in the arm tube. We have a couple more things to remove from the box. We have the record weight, we have the power supply, and we have adapter plugs. Depending on what country you're in, you'll put the appropriate adapter plug on the end of the power supply. And we have the platter itself. Double check that the belt has no twists in it, and we can lower the platter onto the spindle at this point. Since we're in the United States, we need to change the power plug from a European style to the US style. To do that, we press down on this little tab and the plug will slide off. We slide the new plug on and press it till it clicks. We're all set to go. Next, we want to activate the anti-skating mechanism. There's a thin black string that's sitting at the back of the tone arm, and that needs to go around the round pulley right here so it sits right inside. And we know we've done it right because when we move the tone arm back and forth, the weight comes up and down with the tone arm. Next, we're going to check the stylus force of the tone arm and set that so we have the right playing weight. First off, I'm going to just take my finger and tuck these wires up and out of the way so they don't touch the record. We're going to use the cueing lever. This raises and lowers the tone arm. So let me put the arm in a free position, and I can see that it has no force going down at the moment. So I'm just going to slide the weight up a bit, securely holding the front of the tone arm until we have just a modest amount of weight to start. Now we can use the cueing lever. The up position raises the tone arm. To lower the tone arm, we just start that lever going down and the arm will float down. We want to set the stylus force at 2 grams. And we'll see there's a little line on the force gauge for the 2 gram setting. Let's lower the tone arm down, set it on the 2 gram line. We don't have enough force yet because the gauge is sitting up. If we had too much force, the gauge would be sitting down. When it's floating midway is when the force is right. So we need a little bit more weight. So I'm going to firmly hold the front of the tone arm, slide the counterweight forward just a little bit, reset that on the 2 gram setting. The gauge is still up, so we need a bit more force. Slide the weight in, set it again on the 2 gram mark. And now the gauge is sitting level. The force is set to 2 grams. That's what we want. That should be checked once a year. Now, I strongly recommend that you purchase from your local dealer or online one of these electronic force gauges. This will make the whole job much, much easier. We just set that down, put the stylus over the dot, and it reads out the force very accurately, very quickly, very easily. Highly recommended. Now we're going to make the connections. So the power supply cable will plug in here. The audio cable, which does not come with the turntable, you'll have to purchase one from your dealer, plugs in. Red is the right channel, white or black is for the left channel. Now we have to connect the ground wire. This came with the turntable. We loosen up this post, and there's a horizontal hole drilled through the post. We insert the wire through that hole and tighten up the connection. Let's take a quick peek at the other end. This is a spade lug with 2 small prongs. Now, you may find that on your system, these prongs are too close together, making it difficult to attach this. If that's the case, just take a pliers and bend one of the prongs down. Using only one to connect the ground is perfectly fine. Now it's time to level the turntable. We set the bubble level on the platter. The bubble should be in the center. If it needs adjusting, the feet on the bottom of the turntable will rotate out to adjust the level. The bubble is now right in the center, but we still need to check for any rocking. Oh, this corner is rocking just a little bit, so we'll rotate out this foot a tiny bit. Double check, no more rocking there. Check this corner, no rocking. The bubble is still right in the center. We're all set. Here are 3 accessories we haven't talked about yet. We have the overhang gauge, and this is used for adjusting the position of the phono cartridge. That's if you change the cartridge sometime in the future. To mount a new cartridge, you're going to need possibly different screws, so that's what these are for. and we have Allen wrenches to do fine adjustments on the tone arm, which we are not going to have to do in this case. We're ready to play an album. I'm going to put the platter mat on the platter. Record goes on, and the clamp goes on. We can start up the motor, cue the tone arm up, center it over the beginning of the album, and then just tap the lever and the arm will float down to the record at a controlled rate. What you don't want to do is force this lever all the way down. I like to let it just float on its own. When it's over, I'll use the cueing lever to raise the tone arm back up, bring it back to the stand, shut the motor off. Now, if I'm not going to do any more listening, I'll want to put the record back in its jacket, remove the clamp, and set the platter dust shield over the turntable to protect the tone arm and to prevent dust from collecting on the felt mat. If you change the phono cartridge to a different model, or if you choose to not use the felt mat, or possibly you might get in the future a different type of platter mat that's thicker, you might have to change the height of the tone arm, because while the tone arm is playing the record, it should be level. It should be parallel to the surface of the record. An easy way to confirm that is to simply hold up a piece of graph paper next to the tone arm, look at an angle, and the tone arm should be parallel to the lines. If it isn't, we'll need to adjust the height of the tone arm. That's easy to do. Adjusting the tone arm height, if you ever desire, is actually very simple. It's very important to have someone support the front of the tone arm while you're doing this. I'm going to put my hand under the tone arm bearing, take the largest Allen key that comes with the turntable. We put it into the adjustment slot here. There we go. Counterclockwise, it will loosen the tone arm. You will be able to raise and lower it, and then snug it back down with clockwise rotation of the Allen key. You might want the tone arm, when using the cueing lever, to raise the arm a little bit higher off the record, or possibly not quite as high. That's an easy adjustment also. You use the small Allen key that comes with the turntable, and you put it into this Allen screw right there. Support the bottom of the cueing. Counterclockwise rotation, it loosens up. Raise or lower it a little bit. Clockwise rotation to tighten it up. It may take a couple of tries to get it right, but it's easy to do. I have one more fine-tuning tip. If you have perfect pitch, you might want to double check the accuracy of the speed of the turntable, say once a year. That's done with a strobe disc. They're available from many sources. They're very inexpensive. Mine is actually attached to a record album. You set that on the platter, you start the motor rotating, and there's radial lines that if you hold a fluorescent light over the strobe disc, the lines will look like they're standing still. If they're not, the speed could use some fine adjusting. That's done very easily by inserting a screwdriver into the hole for the appropriate speed that needs adjusting. This is a multi-turn adjustment, so you might have to turn it more than one rotation to get it perfect. That's it. You're ready to enjoy your MT2 turntable now.